All right, everyone, now we have to talk about the political ad of the day, or, well, really, since the election began here. Old Desantis! Yes, Donald Trump is hitting Desantis on his fair tax proposal. It's the proposal to scrap the federal income tax in exchange for a national sales tax. Now, some people are TDS sufferers. I see some DeSantis fans saying this. Well, Donald Trump has gone far left. How dare he oppose this tax plan to replace the federal income tax? And as I will point out, that's not what Trump is doing. Attacking Trump right now by saying this comes out of left field is fucking nonsense. He's put forth his own tax proposals to broadly lower taxes on virtually everyone and everything. That's not a left-wing position. It's really a competition between two people that want to fundamentally reform the tax system so that it's better. I lean towards supporting the Trump-era proposals. Trump already delivered on tax reform once. He saved me a shit ton of money. He created an expanded child tax credit. That helps to potentially spur people to have a few more kids, by the way, which is good. Biden liked the idea so much that he effectively took it, front-ended it, and then claimed it was his. Much like he's now claiming that he developed the triad, the quad, but triad, Jesus Christ. I'm having a Biden moment. You saw that the other day. He's over in Japan saying that he created the quad, even though it was created by Shinzo Abe in the 2000s, quickly disbanded and then was reformed partially because of Trump's diplomatic efforts. He just can't stop doing it. I'll be talking about that thing in the live stream today. The ad itself here, before we go into the proposals and why I would be hesitant to support a national sales tax replacing federal income tax, although I would do very well under that plan. If I didn't have to pay the federal income tax and the sales tax didn't affect me because I'm an expat in the Netherlands, oh boy, yeah, technically DeSantis' tax plan would be a big windfall to me. I would save, God, probably 20 grand a year or something like that. It would marginally increase prices in other countries too, because of the effect on the world's largest economy, exports and so forth, balancing the budgets. Overall, DeSantis' plan, personally, if I were just a greed meister, I would vote for DeSantis. I would declare my endorsement of him right now, based solely on his tax plan. You know, that's a lot of money. Just saying. Anyway, the ad itself, Trump's team admittedly could have done a lot better with this. I like the animation. It's meant to be silly and so forth. Here's the problem. If you're going to make a jingle, Old MacDonald has a farm, yeah. Okay, everyone knows that one because it's catchy. Okay, it's a very catchy tune. You got to make sure that it rhymes. You double check the linguistics that you're using. Sing it to yourself and then hear, does it actually make sense? Have you struck the same pentameter as the original song because it's catchy because of all of those facets falling together and simply being perfectly constructed as a little kid's ditty, and it sticks in adults' heads too. Just ask me about the Ninja theme song or the little doodly-doo at the end of Dickie Dick. Oh, I can recite all of those by memory at this point. As a father, watching little kids' cartoons, yeah, I'm just glad that our daughter doesn't seem to like Barney. I'd be in hell. Anyway, the ad itself is a bit cringe. They could have done better. They could have done better with the lyrics. Having the infographics paired with a popular jingle makes sense. The overall structure is good. They could have done a little bit better in the actual carry-through. Here's the problem, though. The actual problem, beyond old DeSantis had a farm and wants the farm to go out of business, having to buy products with a massive increase in their actual cost. Here's the problem. There are several groups of people who would really fall through the cracks if you eliminated the federal income tax and replaced it with a national sales tax. First, everyone who's poor, literally everyone. At the end of the year, they get a bit of money from the government. They pay the payroll and stuff. They get a sum at the end. A child tax credit would be involved with this. If you're not filing because there's no federal income tax at all, it's not clear how anyone would get any form of return. Any form of write-off, small business owners would be screwed. Working classers, especially freelancers purchasing their own shit, would fall through. It would also affect the middle class. It wouldn't affect you if you're making a lot more. Like if you're rich or even in the upper middle class, it would probably be a net benefit to you. Why would the middle class get screwed? The sales tax increase on prices shows up immediately, unless you want to spend 20 years trying to graduate the system out slowly and slowly increase a national sales tax as you slowly get rid of federal tax totals. That would work a little bit better. Otherwise, you're screwing the middle class in this way. You have considerably increased the cost of all goods and services that they're purchasing, but at the same time, that federal savings doesn't show up immediately. There's a 1-year gap, you see, before that ends up occurring. So, you paid the last year's federal income taxes. If you're in the lower echelon of the middle class, you probably about break even. If you're getting towards the solid middle, upper edge of the upper middle, you're paying taxes. If you're self-employed, you're already getting fucked. The problem with this is that some people, they're self-employed, so they get fucked by the penalty, like myself. They buy their own shit, and it's a write-off, so at the very least there is somewhat of a reduction. Now, Trump helped them a lot by doing a write-off of a significant potential proportion of overall federal taxes, basically to offset some of the damage that's done by that, up to 20%, actually, in some cases, self-employment penalty. If I'm a freelancer, so I'm filing my taxes. I'm a sole proprietor. I am a business, effectively, under the tax code. I can write off, let's say I do plumbing work and I buy tools and so forth. I can write off fuel usage for, my work vehicle, which may also be my personal vehicle. You got to make sure to keep those receipts. You don't want to accidentally write off the gas that you didn't use when you were on the job. That would be tax fraud. The purchase of the vehicle, etc., etc. I have a significant number of potential write-offs. Because I incur a cost, because I work for myself, when I go to work, I'm freelancing and I'm not working for a business that provides me with my drill and my hammer and my hard hat and so forth and my, oil stained suspenders that I have to change every day and it clogs up my fucking washing machine and destroys it. I have to get a new one every 4 months. Probably a major expense in certain households or for blue-collar workers. Right now, you pay your taxes, but you can write things off. Your tax burden lowers. You might end up getting a return at the end of the year, of course, because on paper, you're making pretty good money here, but you're also incurring a shit ton of cost. This would effectively mean, potentially, because there's no tax filing for federal taxes at all anymore, you don't get to write off the expenses that you're incurring. This impacts several million people, keep in mind, and most of them are not wealthy. They're working in lower middle class. These are blue-collar jobs. Millions of people. And now they're also paying more for everything. I think that it would bankrupt them. And you're talking about the core worker. You're talking about the core blue-collar workers, the ones that fix Ron DeSantis pipes when they blow up because he had too big a log in the toilet. That plumber now is fucked. The poor are fucked. They're paying more, but they're not getting anything back out of it. That's a significant proportion of the whole U.S. population. It's most of the working class, 100% of the poor, most of the lower middle class, and at least a portion of the core middle class. That's most of you out there. If you're watching from the United States, most of you have not risen to the upper middle class or above. You're not rich. You're middle class. I hope that you're comfy middle class. Right now that basically means, we don't yet have to take out a credit card in order to buy groceries. Thank goodness, we've been isolated from the fallout of Bidenomics. If you were to make this switch, I don't think it's a practical one. I much prefer simply lowering all of the brackets, yes, including for the super rich, keeping the business tax rate low to spur on more investment, as Trump has done. I think that there should be a cap on state taxes as well. We have a wildly disproportionate state tax system. Some sort of effort should be done to at least encourage the states to balance a little bit. Look at Vermont's state tax rate. Thank goodness it's graduated. Thank goodness it has bracketing. I think in some states they don't, actually, which is a big problem. Another thing. Property taxes, which are state level. Again, you get hammered by the states as much as you do by the federal government when it comes to costs. Those should be tackled. If anything, we need to look at ways to make the price of goods less. What would happen if you did a national sales tax? Again, on paper, it sounds really great, including to those of us who lean libertarian. They're like, getting rid of the federal income tax would be kind of based. Oh, agreed. And again, I would reap a windfall under his DeSantis tax proposal. The problem is that spending would then collapse among the lower and working classes especially, and into the lower middle class. That dries up corporate profits. Ergo, the tax amount that you're getting from them is less. The deficit grows. It doesn't shrink because of this change, while people effectively are paying more if they don't have much So you know, the person who finally managed to get enough of a wage so they could switch from ramen to Campbell's chicken noodle soup, and they're like, well, at least there's some nutrition in it. I don't poop bricks every other night. Now has to switch back to ramen. They're like, fuck, I'm a millennial and I'm 35 years old and I'm living with 3 roommates. I finally get the first can of baked beans that I've had in 3 years. I've eaten nothing else but ramen. They're all like, they've got a pot belly from malnutrition. They look like an Ethiopian fucking famine child. This would cripple them economically. It is not a practical solution. It's pig in a pokery, actually. It's much better to simply lower all the brackets. Trump has already done this. He's already proven that he's serious about reforming the tax system. It worked. Trumponomics work. It's the exact opposite of Bidenomics. So I'll be sticking with the Trump train, even though, again, personally speaking, because of my relatively unique circumstances, actually under DeSantis' plan, I'd do pretty damn well. By the way, is the sales tax going to apply to guns, Ron? Why don't you get someone needs to ask him that. That would be very, very interesting. That's about all. Peace out.